On the August 2022 invoice from Brenner, we find an entry about an employee comment. We'll get into that and more in just a moment. Greetings, everyone. This is the Gardening Snail from Livingston, California, just trying to keep the community informed and local government as honest as possible. In this video, we will be looking at what we were billed for General Legal and Human Resources Services by Brenner in August 2022. The first thing I want to point out is that all the charges by Doug White, the managing partner, were redacted from General Legal. That will figure into an assumption that I'll be making, which is shown here in red. Regarding the council meeting of August the 2nd, Tom Hale did not attend this meeting, although he did bill us $400 for office hours the same day. Doug White, however, did attend the meeting as acting city attorney. Actually, there were two separate agendas for that day. The closed session, which included a performance evaluation of the city attorney, and the regular session, which included an effort to salvage the contract with the Sheriff's Department for interim police chief services. That effort failed, by the way, with the end result that the city manager went ahead and appointed Chuck Hale as police chief 2 weeks later. Under the circumstances, I think it's fair to assume that most, if not all, of the 10.6 hours Doug White charged us was for attending those meetings and travel both ways. The City Council meeting for the 10th and 11th were mainly about adopting the budget. Here are a couple of snips from those agendas so that you could see what was on the agenda. Emails, office hours, and meeting attendance on August 16th added up to $900. Again, this was the meeting at which the appointment of Chuck Hale as police chief was announced and the ratifying of his contract was on the agenda. There was a $60 email regarding the September 6th agenda, $220 to prepare emails and a letter about Emerald Textiles, $40 for an email about employee public comment. Why the city attorney is discussing city employee public comments, I wonder? Then there is a $20 email about Meyer Park. By the way, the September 6th was the day Chuck Hale was sworn in as police chief of Livingston. Moving on, there was $800 for office hours on non-meeting days and $140 for reviewing the policy about how agenda items get on the agenda. I know historically it's either been the mayor or two council members in agreement that could get an item on the agenda, so why we must spend any money on a review is beyond me. Then there's a $20 email about the Planning Commission. $960 worth of items. I can't really guess what they are for because of the way they are redacted. And a $60 email about unpermitted truck parking. I notice on this invoice, the retainer for general legal services was applied to the balance. That's kind of interesting. Moving on to human resources. The first thing I want to point out is that most of the work is being done by the Human Resources Internal Investigations type specialist. And that is all heavily redacted. It's also billed at the higher rate of $275 per hour. What we are allowed to see on this page is only a few entries about various personnel issues. There are a couple of emails and phone calls that add up to almost an hour's worth of discussion about the police chief contract on August 12th. On the 15th, the day before the 16th City Council meeting, there is another email about the police chief's contract. Everything else is entirely redacted. All of partner Goldstein and all managing partner Doug White's hours were redacted as well. I also want to point out that there was still a large balance outstanding, most of which I think are from that huge dump of charges that hit the June 2022 invoice for work that was done as far back as December 2021. If you like what I do here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook. And don't forget the disclaimer that editorial content is my own as a resident of Livingston and City Council watcher since at least 2007, and does not represent the views and opinions of the City Council or the City of Livingston, and sure does not represent any kind of legal advice.